What is PHP? PHP, recursive acronym for PHP, Hypertext Preprocessor, is a widely used open-source general-purpose scripting language that is especially suited for web development and can be embedded into HTML. Nice, but what does that mean? An example.
Hello friends, please like, share and subscribe.
Hello friends, please like, share and subscribe. Thanks. Instead of lots of commands to output HTML, as seen in C or Perl, PHP pages contain HTML with embedded code that does something. In this case, output, "Hi, I'm a PHP script." The PHP code is enclosed in special start and end processing instructions, PHP end, that allow you to jump into and out of PHP mode. What distinguishes PHP from something like client-side JavaScript is that the code is executed on the server, generating HTML which is then sent to the client. The client would receive the results of running that script, but would not know what the underlying code was. You can even configure your web server to process all your HTML files with PHP, and then there's really no way that users can tell what you have up your sleeve. The best part about using PHP is that it is extremely simple for a newcomer, but offers many advanced features for a professional programmer. Don't be afraid to read the long list of PHP's features. You can jump in a short time, and start writing simple scripts in a few hours. Although PHP's development is focused on server-side scripting, you can do much more with it. Read on, and see more in the What Can PHP Do? section, or go right to the introductory tutorial if you are only interested in web programming. What can PHP do? What can PHP do? Anything. PHP is mainly focused on server-side scripting, so you can do anything any other CGI program can do, such as collect form data, generate dynamic page content, or send and receive cookies. But PHP can do much more. There are two main areas where PHP scripts are used. Server-side scripting. This is the most traditional and main target field for PHP. You need three things to make this work: the PHP parser, CGI or server module, a web server and a web browser. You need to run the web server, with a connected PHP installation. You can access the PHP program output with a web browser, viewing the PHP page through the server. All these can run on your home machine if you are just experimenting with PHP programming. See the installation instructions section for more information. Command line scripting. You can make a PHP script to run it without any server or browser. You only need the PHP parser to use it this way. This type of usage is ideal for scripts regularly executed using cron, on *Nix or Linux, or Task Scheduler, on Windows. These scripts can also be used for simple text processing tasks. See the section about command line usage of PHP for more information. PHP can be used on all major operating systems, including Linux, many Unix variants, including HP UX, Solaris, and OpenBSD, Microsoft Windows, Mac OS, RISC OS, and probably others. PHP also has support for most of the web servers today. This includes Apache, IIS, and many others. And this includes any web server that can utilize the fast CGI PHP binary, like Lightning Inc. PHP works as either a module, or as a CGI processor. So with PHP, you have the freedom of choosing an operating system and a web server. Furthermore, you also have the choice of using procedural programming or object-oriented programming, OOP, or a mixture of them both. With PHP you are not limited to output HTML. PHP's abilities include outputting rich file types, such as images or PDF files, encrypting data, and sending emails. You can also output easily any text, such as JSON or XML. PHP can auto-generate these files, and save them in the file system, instead of printing it out, forming a server-side cache for your dynamic content. One of the strongest and most significant features in PHP is its support for a wide range of databases. Writing a database-enabled web page is incredibly simple using one of the database-specific extensions, example for MySQL, or using an abstraction layer like PDO, or connect to any database supporting the Open Database Connection standard via the ODBC extension. Other databases may utilize curl or sockets, like CouchDB. PHP also has support for talking to other services using protocols such as LDAP, IMAP, SNMP, NNTP, POP3, HTTP, COM, on Windows, and countless others. You can also open raw network sockets and interact using any other protocol. PHP has support for the WDDX complex data exchange between virtually all web programming languages. Talking about interconnection, PHP has support for instantiation of Java objects and using them transparently as PHP objects. PHP has useful text processing features, which includes the Perl-compatible regular expressions, PCRE, and many extensions and tools to parse and access XML documents. PHP standardizes all of the XML extensions on the solid base of libxml2, and extends the feature set adding simple XML, XML Reader, and XML Writer support. And many other interesting extensions exist, which are categorized both alphabetically and by category. And there are additional PECL extensions that may or may not be documented within the PHP manual itself, like Xdebug. As you can see, this page is not enough to list all the features and benefits PHP can offer. Read on in the sections about installing PHP, and see the function reference part for explanation of the extensions mentioned here. Here we would like to show the very basics of PHP in a short, simple tutorial. This text only deals with dynamic web page creation with PHP, though PHP is not only capable of creating web pages. See the section titled "What can PHP do" for more information. PHP-enabled web pages are treated just like regular HTML pages, and you can create and edit them the same way you normally create regular HTML pages. What do I need? In this tutorial we assume that your server has activated support for PHP and that all files ending in .php are handled by PHP. On most servers, this is the default extension for PHP files, but ask your server administrator to be sure. If your server supports PHP, then you do not need to do anything. Just create your .php files, put them in your web directory, and the server will automatically parse them for you. There is no need to compile anything, nor do you need to install any extra tools. Think of these PHP-enabled files as simple HTML files with a whole new family of magical tags that let you do all sorts of things. Let us say you want to save precious bandwidth and develop locally. In this case, you will want to install a web server, such as Apache, and of course PHP. You will most likely want to install a database as well, such as MySQL. You can either install these individually or choose a simpler way. Our manual has installation instructions for PHP, assuming you already have some web server set up. If you have problems with installing PHP yourself, we would suggest you ask your questions on our installation mailing list. If you choose to go on the simpler route, then locate a pre-configured package for your operating system, which automatically installs all of these with just a few mouse clicks. It is easy to set up a web server with PHP support on any operating system, including Mac OS X, Linux, and Windows. On Linux, you may find rpmfind and pbone helpful for locating RPMS. You may also want to visit apt-get to find packages for Debian. Improve this page. Your first PHP-enabled page. Create a file named hello.php and put it in your web server's root directory, document_root, with the following content. Use your browser to access the file with your web server's URL, ending with the /hello.php file reference. When developing locally, this URL will be something like http://localhost/hello.php or http://127.0.0.1/hello.php, but this depends on the web server's configuration. If everything is configured correctly, this file will be parsed by PHP and the following output will be sent to your browser. Hello friends, if you like more videos, please like and share, subscribe. Thanks. This program is extremely simple and you really did not need to use PHP to create a page like this. All it does is display "Hello World" using the PHP echo statement. Note that the file does not need to be executable or special in any way. The server finds out that this file needs to be interpreted by PHP because you used the .php extension, which the server is configured to pass on to PHP. Think of this as a normal HTML file which happens to have a set of special tags available to you that do a lot of interesting things. If you tried this example and it did not output anything, it prompted for download, or you see the whole file as text, chances are that the server you are on does not have PHP enabled, or is not configured properly. Ask your administrator to enable it for you using the installation chapter of the manual. If you are developing locally, also read the installation chapter to make sure everything is configured properly. Make sure that you access the file via HTTP with the server providing you the output. If you just call up the file from your file system, then it will not be parsed by PHP. If the problems persist anyway, do not hesitate to use one of the many PHP support options. The point of the example is to show the special PHP tag format. In this example we used PHP to indicate the start of a PHP tag. Then we put the PHP statement and left PHP mode by adding the closing tag. You may jump in and out of PHP mode in an HTML file like this anywhere you want. For more details, read the manual section on the basic PHP syntax. Note: a note on line feeds. Line feeds have little meaning in HTML, however it is still a good idea to make your HTML look nice and clean by putting line feeds in. A line feed that follows immediately after a closing will be removed by PHP. This can be extremely useful when you are putting in many blocks of PHP or include files containing PHP that aren't supposed to output anything. At the same time it can be a bit confusing. You can put a space after the closing to force a space in a line feed to be output, or you can put an explicit line feed in the last echo/print from within your PHP block. Note: a note on text editors. There are many text editors and integrated development environments, IDEs, that you can use to create, edit, and manage PHP files. A partial list of these tools is maintained at PHP Editors list. If you wish to recommend an editor, please visit the above page and ask the page maintainer to add the editor to the list. Having an editor with syntax highlighting can be helpful. Note: a note on word processors. Word processors such as StarOffice Writer, Microsoft Word, and ABDELAZIZ are not optimal for editing PHP files. If you wish to use one for this test script, you must ensure that you save the file as plain text or PHP will not be able to read and execute the script. Now that you have successfully created a working PHP script, it is time to create the most famous PHP script. Make a call to the fpinfo function and you will see a lot of useful information about your system and setup, such as available predefined variables, loaded PHP modules, and configuration settings. Take some time and review this important information.
Hello friends, if you like more videos, please like and share, subscribe. Thanks.
Something useful. Let us do something more useful now. We are going to check what sort of browser the visitor is using. For that, we check the user agent string the browser sends as part of the HTTP request. This information is stored in a variable. Variables always start with a $sign in PHP. The variable we are interested in right now is $_server HTTP_user_agent. Note: $_server is a special reserved PHP variable that contains all web server information. It is known as a superglobal. See the related manual page on superglobals for more information. There are many types of variables available in PHP. In the above example, we printed an element from an array variable. Arrays can be very useful. $_server is just one variable that PHP automatically makes available to you. A list can be seen in the reserved variables section of the manual, or you can get a complete list of them by looking at the output of the finfo function used in the example in the previous section. You can put multiple PHP statements inside a PHP tag and create little blocks of code that do more than just a single echo. For example, if you want to check for Firefox, you can do this. Here we introduce a couple of new concepts. We have an if statement. If you are familiar with the basic syntax used by the C language, this should look logical to you. Otherwise, you should probably pick up an introductory PHP book and read the first couple of chapters, or read the language reference part of the manual. The second concept we introduced was the str_contains function call. str_contains is a function built into PHP which determines if a given string contains another string. In this case we are looking for Firefox, so-called needle, inside $_server http_user_agent, so-called haystack. If the needle is found inside the haystack, the function returns true. Otherwise, it returns false. If it returns true, the if expression evaluates to true and the code within its braces is executed. Otherwise, the code is not run. Feel free to create similar examples, with if, else, and other functions such as strtupper and strlen. Each related manual page contains examples too. If you are unsure how to use functions, you will want to read both the manual page on how to read a function definition and the section about PHP functions. We can take this a step further and show how you can jump in and out of PHP mode even in the middle of a PHP block. You are using Firefox. str_contains, return true. Instead of using a PHP echo statement to output something, we jumped out of PHP mode and just sent straight HTML. The important and powerful point to note here is that the logical flow of the script remains intact. Only one of the HTML blocks will end up getting sent to the viewer depending on the result of str_contains. In other words, it depends on whether the string Firefox was found or not.